One of the um, one of the players of the new generation that has been very vocal about raising the standards of the new generation playing players, and um, was it's been Stefanos Tsitsipas. And I remember I saw him in an interview about a couple of years ago where he was talking about uh, I think Federer had just beaten one of the three um, top guys, have beaten either Nadal, Djokovic, or Federer, have been one of the new generation guys. And he was saying, I believe it was, if I'm not wrong, it was Federer beating him or Nadal beating him, and he said, he came out and said, he was pretty mad about it. He was saying, this is pathetic. This is something that this guy has been, they have been beating us, and some of those losses have been pretty bad ones, like some of them humiliating. And say we're supposed to be the new blood, we're supposed to be the future of the sport, and we still cannot beat these guys when they're already in their 30s. Djokovic was not in his 30s yet, if I'm not sure, but I'm not sure about those numbers. But anyways, you get the message. And you could tell that he was pretty upset about that. He was being serious about saying that it was time for the next generation players to start raising up to the occasion. I think it seems like he was trying to say that probably what they were probably working on too much was on their game, focusing on hitting the ball harder and better placement on the court, where they would put the ball and moving better, improving the seven, all that. And well, at least to me, it was obvious that the training was all on court and nothing was being trained like, okay, you have to train yourself, also your self-control, and how you're going to respond to challenges, and how you are going to respond. How are you going to respond when you have to play a guy like Nadal on clay? How are you going to respond when you have to play a guy like Federer on grass? And how are you going to respond when you have to play a guy like Djokovic on hard court or grass, or indoor? And all three guys, if you think about it, this is, to me, I might be wrong. My dad, of course, thinks that I'm wrong. My dad grew up with the generation of Labor and Roach and those guys. But I believe this Federer, Nadal, and Djokovic are the best generation ever in tennis. Those three guys. And when you just imagine that you have to put yourself in the shoes of the next generation guys, having to remove these three guys, that all three are fighting for the greatest of all time title, is a huge task that no other generation has faced before. I think that in the last 2 years, things have improved a lot. I've seen a lot, not a lot, but I've seen a handful of players, of the new guys, that seem much more solid in their game. They're starting to, their shape is starting, they're already in the early 20s, 23, 24, 25, when their game is starting to shape, and you're starting to see, okay, this is coming all together and it's kind of clicking, and you can have an idea what that player is going to be down in a few years, once becoming more mature. Once they become more mature, and once they get to learn to control their nerves better and their self-control. But that's something that they need now, because I am sure that they don't want the big three to go and the next generation saying the truth is that we were never able to overcome these guys. We overcome these guys probably at the very end of their career because they were old. and they don't want to be remembered like that, like saying, "Oh, you belong to that generation that you guys couldn't handle Federer or Nadal or Djokovic." And I I can tell that there are players that are taking that seriously. You can talk about Medvedev, you can talk about Zverev, you can talk about Tsitsipas, of course, and and there are some other guys that Berrettini, and there's just like several new guys that they you see them and they have the power and they have the talent to become a contender or part of that new wave of players that will dominate in probably 4 or 5 years from now. Some of them, all of a sudden, you see guys that come really good, and after a month or so that they do well in tournaments, they disappear, and well, they're just part of the competition. But anyways, I think that if I can think of guys that are mentally getting ready, like their game is there, it's getting closer and closer. But to me, the game doesn't. It matters, but the truth is that I like to see the guys that say, okay, this guy he's got it. And I have to say that Tsitsipas is definitely one of them. Medvedev is one of them, and the third one is Thiem. That Thiem doesn't have to prove it. He's already proved that the guy is. To me, he's up there with the top three guys mentally. Probably not yet there with them, but I say this guy, he's going towards that position. He's gonna be. To me, he's gonna be the Nadal in the next coming years, thinking that there's gonna be the guy that is really, really strong. I'm saying the Nadal because that's the example that people want to give. To me, Djokovic is. I already mentioned before. To me, Djokovic is mentally stronger, or at least at the same level as Nadal. And I don't think that Federer is anything lower than them. It's just that one style of game, which is Nadal's, he shows it more. Federer doesn't do the fist pumping as much, and Djokovic does his antics too, but people always refer to Nadal. So, but anyways, yeah, to me, Thiem is gonna be the guy, the tough guy, the one guy that when they play in the future, guys that play with him, they're gonna have a hard time thinking, I have to face this guy he's just a dog. He's so tough, and he just keeps fighting. I had the chance to see him years ago qualifying in Acapulco against I lost the name. This guy from Belgium that is top 10 too, or was top 10. Can't remember. A really good match, but I saw Thiem in person playing. It's impressive. He's probably watching him live is probably the most impressive player that I've seen in a long time. But today, Tsitsipas going two sets down against Nadal, and you can tell in the third set the guy he started playing better, and I think that he got to the point where he relieved it. Everything I have been talking about, and you can tell that he's been processing that idea that I have to become a stronger player, and he's mentioned it several times in interviews. He say it's all about the mind, it's all about what you have in your head. And I understand. I had to say that is something that I completely understand, because one thing that I always tell the people that I teach is that you're one player when you don't team up with your mind, and you're another player when you have teamwork with your mind. And it's not only on the court, it's off the court as well. The moment you start paying attention to the things that go through your head, the moment you start paying attention to the way you talk to yourself, to the perspective of things, the perception that you have of things, the way you see things, and you analyze and you approach them, everything changes. Your game, if you have never experienced that, if you have never had to really pay attention and saying, okay, you know what, I have to go in there. I have to go and play, and for a moment, even just in practice, I'm gonna experiment. And if this is if let's say that you're not really good at volley, and you say, okay, let's train some volleys, and you step up to the net, and you start hitting, but you change the mentality, and you start thinking more like, okay, this is a process that I'm doing better. I can become a better volleyer. I know I have it, but I can transcend that fear and the nerves and all that, and start moving away from my focus on how the ball, how am I making those shots, and if the ball is going in, and if it's going with the speed that I want and all that. And instead of paying so much attention to the results, you start focusing more on what's happening in your bubble. Move your feet, do the footwork part, look at the ball, freeze your head when you make contact, get down, load with the legs, and volley more with the legs. And you want to try to keep your head at volley at the level of the ball, and I mean those little things that we know we're supposed to do. That's it. When you start focusing what's going on in your bubble, you start taking away all that talking that goes on in your head. Monkey talking, as maybe some people like to call it, and you start focusing completely in the moment. That's why it's important to focus what's going on here. And the importance of focusing in the moment, for some people that don't understand, is that you're not going. You're not traveling in time. You're not really. It's not the old you that didn't know how to volley that is trying in the moment. It's not the future you that you wanted to be exceptionally good at volleying that is volleying. It's just you in the moment, and it's not really paying attention to where the shot is going, but just doing everything perfect. Like when you're building a house, and you start from the foundation and the pipes and everything. You say every little thing that I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna do it as professionally and well done as possible. And when you do that, you're not in your head, you're not really thinking like, okay, I'm concerned how am I going to do with that studio that I want to add on the second story and things like that. You just get down to what you have to do in the moment, and every little brick or every little thing that you have to do, you just do it perfect, focusing on that in the moment. And when you finish the house, you don't have to. You look at the house, and it's not gonna be crooked or anything. It's guaranteed that it's gonna be perfect, because everything you have done it well. So the result, it just takes care of itself. It's something that you don't have to worry. And I think that's one thing that when I was watching Tsitsipas playing Nadal, and that third set starts looking better, and the guy starts hitting the ball bigger and moving the better angles and all that, and you can feel a shift in the match. It's those moments when you feel that something is going on, and you see Nadal, and Nadal is just being Nadal. He's just being exceptional, and he's trying, and he's fighting, and he's punching, and he's kicking, and he's scratching, and he's poking eyes, and doing everything he always does, just being tough, But unfortunately, for some people that say, oh, age doesn't matter, yeah, age matters. It does, especially at that level of the game. And Nadal started looking a little bit tired, started reaching instead of getting to the ball. Some of them he was, some shots just looking them pass by, not going after them, not chasing. Because it's just the fourth and the fifth set, and he was just not the same player, didn't have the same energy. He's not in his 20s anymore. And Tsitsipas, I mean, you can tell the guy, you see the guy, you look at Tsitsipas on the first set, and all the way to the middle of the second set, and you see the Tsitsipas from the second set. From the third set, middle of the third set and on, and the guy is different. I mean, he looks different. His posture is different. The way he hits the ball, the way even when he's standing, just getting ready to receive, when he's getting ready to serve, and the way it's just everything changes, and that's. The guy, I think that he started just applying what he had been talking about. Say, you know what, you have to you become a different person, but um, it's not something that happens, you know. It's it's not happens that happens from one shot to the next one. Like you make one great shot, that, oh my god, it clicked. No, it starts clicking little by little, and it starts clicking because you're starting to open that door little by little, and you're pushing and you're pushing. And some people don't understand that most of the good things in life, you're gonna be between the possibilities between success and failure. They're just millimetrical. It's like, and life just asks you to keep pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing, and that's the requisite that says, okay, you know, you might get it, you might not get it, but if you want to get it, if you want to have any chance of achieving this, you gotta keep pushing forward. You're probably not gonna make it like the guys in the Olympics that go into swimming and they lost by 0.0009 seconds, you know. And it says, but that little difference might be the what gives you the triumph, you know, the success. But the requisite is that you have to stick to the fight. You have to punch and you have to kick and you have to get down and get up and get back up, and you're gonna get down and get back up, and you're gonna try and it's gonna fail, and you gotta get back up, and you go back to the blueprint, to the plans, to your game plan and everything. And Tsitsipas, he just started. The guy started moving and moving and moving. You could tell that in the fourth set, the end of the fourth set, you could tell that even though the match was still 4-all, let's say, 4 games all, but he looked more ready. He looked like he was doing more to get that little opportunity to break the serve, to close the set, and it happened. And in the fifth set, Nadal still put a fight, but definitely you could tell that Tsitsipas was the better, that is, physically and mentally in a better position, and well, we know how it happened. But this is something that I wanted to talk about because a lot of people don't understand those little things, or you don't catch them sometimes, those little things that happens. And this is not something that happens at the highest level of tennis, you know. You don't have to be in the top 10 in the world to go through something like that. This is the stuff that can happen even to your kid that's going to school on third grade. You know, this happens at every level in life, but we just have to learn to look at things different from a perspective that say, okay, you know what, pay attention to the little details. And in those little details, those little margins of error are going to be usually in life what's going to determine if you're going to make it or not. But like I say, one thing that I always train my students, I say, you have to understand that life is not going to give you a huge margin to win. It's usually going to be something very small, and the only requisite that life is going to ask you is that you have to fight and keep on fighting. And if you lose for that little margin of error, it's going to be very painful, but you just got to stick to it, you know. And I'm sure it has happened to all of you on and off the court, you know. But this is something that it was very clear in the match today. And well, let's see what happens in the coming rounds. Okay, all right, well, I hope you like it, guys. Give me a like, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you next time. Thank you.